Hello, Pokeminders!
And welcome to our weekly Pokepod,
where we discuss everything related to mental well-being as well as our journey as a startup.
I'm your host Yusuf,
And I'm your host Sarah.
and today we're gonna poke some minds. Hello, Pokeminders, and today we have a special guest, Ahmed. He's a friend of mine. We've been friends for so many years, and he's with us today, and we're talking about time management.
Hi, Yusuf. Actually, it's my pleasure to be with you today. I'm very happy to be with my friend before a Pokeminder. So I'm very happy to be with you today.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
So tell us today, who are you? Why are you here today? What are you going to talk about?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think that I'm a person who wants to be better every day. And we thought that we can talk about time management, for example.
Why do you think you're a good candidate to talk about time management?
I don't think that I'm a good candidate. I think that you assume that I'm good at time management, so you'll see. So I hope that we'll give your audience some beneficial tips, and it's actually my thoughts.
All right.
And I hope they're correct.
I feel like I assumed you're a good candidate because you're juggling so many things.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you've made time to hang out with me when I came in, and it's quite fascinating how you did manage the time, because currently you have a full-time job.
Yes.
You're doing your master's.
Exactly.
You're teaching at the university.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's true.
And you make time for family. You make time for friends.
Yes.
You hang out quite often.
I try. Or you see that. But I try hardly to do that.
All right. So tell us the secrets.
There are no actually secrets. I'll talk about like I'm talking to my friend. It's my life. I try to have a balanced life as much as possible, between friends, between my work and my income, between my religion, with my sports and health, with the creational parts and the funny things that we do together, for example. So I try to be as balanced as possible.
Mm-hmm.
As possible. I think that motivates me to be better at time management, because I think time is valuable and every minute is worth it. And it's not like a code that we read or listen on podcasts or on YouTube and stuff like that. But I think it's true, because when you manage your time, the direct impact is that you become happy. Simply, yes, you become happy at the end of the day when you go to sleep and you find that you have done this and that in your work. You played a match, for example, or played sports, you met a friend. So you simply become happy. So it's like a dopamine. As much as you manage your time, as you say, or you try to do as much as possible in your day, at the end of the day, you become happy. And this happiness generates excitement for the next day to repeat that.
I see. That makes perfect sense. I mean, it's always, I go back to this point where I feel like when you think a lot about how many things you're doing, you get overwhelmed. I'm that type of person.
Okay.
So if I think about the things that I'm aiming to do, for example, in a day, and I stress about how much time I have, because I always think that I don't have enough time. Instead of it being a dopamine kick that I managed to do everything, it becomes this monster that is haunting me that, I need to time manage. I need to micromanage my time to make time for everything. What do you think about that? Have you ever experienced it?
Yeah, that's actually me. It's a constant thought in my mind that I don't have time. But recently, I try to develop myself as much as possible. And recently, I believe that I've developed my mindset that during the day, I'll simply do my best. I don't blame myself, for example, if I didn't do the huge list that I planned to do at the beginning of the day, but I try to do my best. And I've read a rule, I don't know its origin, but it's called the 70% rule, which means that if you have a goal, just try to meet 70% of that goal. If you, for example, want to launch a product, and I think we have talked about that before, if you met 70% of the requirements to begin that project or to launch that product, just launch it. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances or definite stuff to do. Just do your best and be soft on yourself. We all have days that are bad days, or there is some stuff that didn't work well. Just that's fine. That's life. So maybe that's not the perfectionism mindset, but everyone should do his best during the day, and just focus on your day. So simply just don't blame yourself, because blaming will destroy your motivation. Just do your best and try to be the best version of yourself every day.
I get that it's super easy to kind of preach for that, right? To tell everyone, oh, don't blame yourself. It's harder said than done, right?
Definitely, and that's life. Let's talk honestly. Sometimes we don't have the perfect days that we planned for, but we as humans, we constantly try every day.
Okay, so I want to know more about you. I want to know more about your experience with what led you to be able to manage that amount of time. Have you faced any specific things? Because, I mean, to be fair, I would see that it's super hard to do what you're doing, especially under the amounts of stress of teaching and doing full-time job. It's quite a big deal that you have a let's say a 9-to-5 job. At the same time, you have to manage your masters, your exams, and your teaching. How's that?
I think from an outside point of view, like a friend who is not in the same position, he see it like, oh, that's great. But actually, when you're on the same position, as I said before, you try to squeeze yourself. You try to squeeze yourself, because there is a very good outcome from that management, or I don't know what's its like definite name, but you become happy from at the end of the day. I'll tell you, for example, let's call it routine. At the beginning of each week or each month, I try to put goals. I set a quality time with myself, and I try to put goals in each part in my life. As we said before, the religious part, the sports, the work, personal development, and the main parts in my life. And every day I just ask myself at the beginning of each day what I want to do today. And I list that part. I list these points, and I put it on the home screen of my mobile to see it. I've downloaded an application to see how many times do I unlock my phone daily. I found that I unlock my phone on average from 80 to 120 times per day.
Okay.
So I see that list around 100 times every day. So it becomes like, I know today what should I do. From the simple tasks to the major tasks. I should call, for example, a relative. I have a topic that I should study, and so on. So I just list my to-do list at the beginning of the day and put it on the home screen of my mobile. I don't put it on a notepad or on a paper, because as you know, from the most thing that we interact with is our mobiles.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if I see my goals 100 times every day, I think that it will like stick in my mind. And at the end of the day, I try to write what did I do that day, and then at the end of the week, I try to read what did I do the last week, and I definitely become happy, because I know that I've made my best, even if I didn't achieve all the things that I've planned to do. But the feeling that you did your best is a very good feeling.
Doesn't that set like an unrealistic standard of constantly reminding yourself if you've done those specific tasks that you've set every day? Like, isn't that a lot of pressure?
I try to the goals itself. I try to put the minimum applicable goal. For example, I don't write I want to read that book. Just I write I want to read at least 2 pages, or I want to call one relative.
Yeah.
I try to write the minimum applicable goals.
I see.
That's it.
I really want to go back to the point where you were talking about, oh, if a friend sees the things that I do, they think that it's a lot. I think this is a very essential point when you're looking at people's lives, because it sets this chain of unrealistic standards for people.
Definitely.
You look at what your friend does, and you see that, wow, they're doing everything I'm not. They must be super productive. And then you put this massive amount of boulder on your shoulders that I'm not matching this person. But then from your perspective, this is not a lot. This is normal.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think that as humans, or in the recent years, maybe we have like minimized our image to ourselves. We don't see ourselves like pretty good, for example, in managing my time. You, as Yusuf, you're pretty good at managing your time. You're teaching at university, you're having your startup, you're managing a home right now. So you're doing a lot of stuff, but sometimes you forget. And if someone told you that you're doing these stuff, you'll tell him, that's easy, or I'm used to do that. So putting yourself in another one's shoes is definitely not the best idea.
Yeah, that's definitely it. I feel like a lot of people start immediately comparing.
Yes.
And I feel like it's not only a cultural thing, it's all over the place. People just see, oh, he's working all the time. He is having holidays all the time. You only see photos, snapshots of people. And
yeah,
that makes it very hard to compare correctly, right?
Definitely. And with the explosion of social media applications, we see only the best parts of people's lives. And that's not always true. And the comparison is a silent killer.
Yeah.
Comparison is very bad, actually. I totally agree with you.
Have you seen this app? It's called Be Real.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Can you tell me about that application more? Because I've met just one friend who used that application, but I didn't get it fully.
So Be Real is an application where you just take a photo of what you're doing.
Okay.
At the same time, a photo of yourself. And it becomes like a timer on your phone at a set time of the day. That you have to do it every day for a certain group of people. Okay. And they see what you're doing in that time. And if you don't do it during that time, they see that you were late. And if you took multiple photos, they see that you took multiple photos of this.
Okay.
So it kind of prevents you from being not real, you know? You have to take a photo of what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And of yourself.
Yes. I think it's like a different mindset or a different idea than Instagram, for example. Instagram, you post the best moments in your maybe year. But Be Real, it's your daily life, your daily normal life. Yeah. So it may be more real, but I'm not marketing to that application. But the idea is good, but for the privacy part of you, I don't think it's very good.
I mean, we could start talking about privacy the whole day, but I feel like it's more of an attempt try and make people, oh, this is what I'm doing daily.
Yes.
I do still think that it's unrealistic standard of comparing, because hell, I know the time where my B reel starts, and I'll just sit on a table and act like I'm working because I don't want these people to know that I'm doing.
I would do that actually.
Yeah. Like, this is something I would do as well, because I don't want my image to be destroyed, you know, or if I'm in a group of coworkers, for example, I want them to know that I'm working. But it seems like, oh, this can be a comparison of, oh, this person manages their time pretty well, but still it's not that good of an attempt to, well, be real, you know.
Yeah. I understand your point. And actually, the thought that is coming up in my mind right now is that, like, the essence of life is to be simple. If you thought it from a broader view, you have like 16 or 18 hours that you're awake every day. You work from these hours 8 or 10 hours. Then you have some extra hours. Some people go to outings or do some funny things. Some people play sports. Some people call their relatives in the limited time. So maybe a shift in our thoughts that it's not managing your time. Maybe it's managing your priorities, because 90% of people have a fixed hours for specific things every day, and we are the same in these hours. For example, all people under 18 go to school 6 or 8 hours per day. Same for employees. But the difference is the hours that are yours.
Yeah.
Some people just scroll on their mobile. This may not be their priority, but that's the way they manage their time.
Yeah.
So it's just managing the 3-4 hours that you're 100% controlling can change a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Managing priorities before actually managing
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big game changer, because there are things that could be delayed and nothing would happen, but we're not really aware of that. I experience a lot of anxiety just thinking about the things that I have to do, and I never think about the sequencing of these things. What's the most important thing right now? Because, for example, if I have limited time with my family, my priority would be spend time with family. And this is the slot of the day where I cannot absolutely compromise on spending time with family. But then there's no point of just stressing over the second priority while doing the first. So it does happen. It is a thing that people kind of experience, even if they manage their priorities. Maybe just because you're doing this right now, you're thinking about the next thing that you're going to do, and then the next and the next thing. And if you're thinking about everything at the same time, kind of puts you in this
definitely
anxious state.
It's like a never-ending loop.
Yes, exactly. It's something that I don't know how to get around, and I wonder if you've experienced that.
Definitely. As humans, we have all experienced that.
Can you give us an example of when or what happened?
I think there is like a trait that I try to develop. I think that I didn't develop fully in myself, but I try, and I hope that everyone tries to develop, is being as much as possible focused. To be focused on the task you're doing right now. Sometimes these are, or this trait is unapplicable or unrealistic. But even if you did that for 50% of your tasks, that will make a huge difference. So just be present, just be focused as much as possible. Let's talk realistically. That will decrease everyone's worries.
So I really want to go deeper in your own experience, not generally, oh, you can do this to be better. I want to know an example or something that has happened to you recently, or I don't know. It seems to me from where I'm sitting that you would go through this quite often.
Okay, so maybe I'll tell you a day that I have my job, and then I have university. a typical day, I wake up at 6, for example, and then I go to work until 1, and then I go to university, and I wait for 1 hour to start my master's. And in that 1 hour, 99% of the time I have my lunch or I just have some rest. And then I take the classes of my master's, and then I go home very tired, actually. And then I compensate my hours in my full-time job in another day. So I just like put a routine, and the first time it was difficult, actually, and then it becomes like a routine. I don't think about the next thing that I should do. I know that until the 1 I should be working as much as possible, and then I go to university, and I think it's simple as I told you. And then I get tired. I won't tell you that I study after that long day. I don't study. I just have my dinner and then I sleep. That's it. And on the weekends, I try to grab all the lectures that I've took during the week, and I cram it as a normal student, and I study it. So this is simply what I do, for example, in a typical day. And from another perspective, I don't go into university every day. So that's also a different thing. I just have some online lectures, so it becomes more easy to listen to these lectures on Friday, which is my weekend. And actually, my manager, from another point of view, my manager helps me a lot in my studying, for example, and he gives me a flexibility in going to the university while compensating these hours. So it's a normal thing. After some while, it becomes a routine. I know that I'll cram on Friday and I'll study. I'll know that midweek I'll get tired as soon as I arrive to my home, and I sleep at 9, for example, or at 10 because I get too tired. And the masters and studying and stuff like that are just 6 weeks, and then you take a vacation for 1 or 2 weeks. Then you complete.
Do you think it's manageable to continue on with this very specific routine of the day?
Definitely no. Definitely no. I break down after some time. So the moment that I feel that I have some free time, I have 2 options. 70% of the time I just sit at home and I sit on my bed and just have some rest. Scroll on my mobile or doing very normal things. And the remaining time, I try to see my friends. I try to do something that energizes me for completing the journey.
Yeah. I'd like to ask you a question. I feel like it became a tradition at this point, but who are you? Can you define yourself in a few words and tell us what is you, you know?
You're going very deep. I'm a person that just tries to be. I'm not a very good individual, but I think that I have good intentions that I want to be good. Sometimes these intentions turn into actions, and I do some good things.
That's a fairly good answer.
Thank you.
Most people would go.
It just came up in my mind.
I mean, most people would go into the fact that they're doing a certain thing in their lives. I would define myself as a PhD student, for example, because this is me, right? This is the thing that takes the whole of my time.
Yeah.
But I mean, just a note. We've been friends for quite a long time now, and I don't remember a time where you're not striving to be better. It's always, oh, I've seen this thing that, he does this thing that it works really well. Oh, I'm trying to integrate this in my life and it's been working really okay. And I'm trying to go to this sport. But, you always talk like, I'm really trying to be better. Just generally, I'm always striving to be better to people, to myself, to my work, to my body. It's really nice. And I think you've really captured who you are, because this is how I would see you.
I'm actually overwhelmed. But actually, I think that's, as I told you, I'm not very good. Let's talk honestly. But I try.
Yeah.
In a trial and error loop. Sometimes I become good, and then I fail, and then I repeat.
Yeah.
And I think that's the goal of every person. And I think that all humans have good intentions about their lives.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Why didn't you define yourself as an engineer?
Engineer. I didn't define myself as an engineer.
Why? I mean, it's quite a defining thing, right? You work as in an engineering environment, and you are an engineer, and this is your
profession.
Yeah, exactly. It's a profession.
Yeah.
At the same time, it defines quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But why didn't you define yourself as that?
After, for example, 40 years, when I look back on my life, I won't be totally proud, for example, of being a civil engineer. I'll just be proud that I've did good things in my life, whether in my profession, which is a big part in my life, and I agree with you, or in other parts, whether the relationships, the social relationships, or my body. So I think that a human is a package. Yes. Package of a profession, a personality, a human. A human shouldn't be defined by his own profession, not even in any ideology, religion. And from a Muslim perspective, for example, the best people are the ones who are trying to be better. I don't know the specific translation of the verse in Quran. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. It says that the best people are the one who are trying to be better. So it doesn't say that the best one is the civil engineer or the best one is the doctor. The best one is the human who strives to be better in every part in his life, apart from his profession. Because maybe a garbage collector may be better from a business or a wealthy man, because he does the thing that he comes to life for, which is being the best version of himself in everything that he is in.
Okay.
And I hope that I've transferred my point.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being part of Pokepod, and it was my pleasure talking to you about time management and plenty of other things. And as always, just talking to you never ends, because we can go through everything, especially when we go a bit deeper into life and how things are. And I mean, time management itself can be connected to quite a lot of things, because this is time, and time is linear through our lives, and this is how we define our lives, with time. And this talk can never end, but unfortunately we'll end it there, and hopefully we'll have you again in our Pokepod.
I hope so. And it was definitely my pleasure. We had a very fruitful conversation, and as always, a deep conversation. So thank you for hosting me today.
No worries, it was all my pleasure. I remember our conversations in the streets.
Yeah.
Running. I remember when we were running and we just started talking about religion and life, and it started becoming this complicated topic, and we even stopped running altogether, and we were just standing there talking about the topic. I don't know if you remember that.
Simply as you said, that our talks never end. And was